The question that I have for you guys is it time to sell my shares of Google? This is a question that I haven't asked since 2010 when I first invested in the company and was selling half the shares, trying to trade it like some dimwit that I was at the time. And I ended up losing half the shares to a sale, and then the price just took off. I have not sold a share of Google since then. And thank God, because it's way, way up, because the company was executing extremely well. But one must reevaluate the investments over time. Something is rot in the state of Denmark, my friends. There is rot inside of Google that was exemplified in the Google Gemini AI that refused to create images of white people, that made Nazi soldiers blacks, as well as our founding fathers, that any question that you ask it is infused with wokeness. And this is the ideology that is pervasive throughout the company. So that's number one. Google has been trying to accelerate their AI development, and frankly, what came out was less than impressive. So the question that I have is, will Google fire their whole diversity, inclusion, and equity department? Are they going to cut count in terms of the cost that might temporarily raise the stock price, but how much of this will remain embedded into the products that Google has produced? If you take a look at Google's main revenue drivers, they are search, which has the potential to be disrupted by AI. And given the results that I have received from Google Gemini, I am much less apt to use Google than I have been for the past 20 years. That's been my exclusive search engine, as I'm sure it has been for many of you. I experimented with DuckDuckGo, with Brave. The results just weren't as good. But with artificial intelligence basically answering any question that I have for it, that basically becomes a new race. Is it going to be Grok from Twitter? Is it going to be Facebook and their OpenAI? Or is it going to be Microsoft and their so-called OpenAI that Elon has sued them over? So that has the potential to be disrupted dramatically, and that has such a huge profit margin for the company and drives everything else. Then you have YouTube, which I have become, although I do subscribe and I pay for a YouTube music subscription, should Rumble develop a non-glitchy, more usable app as well as Rumble Music, I would switch in a heartbeat. In fact, Google and YouTube have basically shadow banned my political channel, where despite having 3,200 subscribers, I get less than 30 views a video on average, sometimes less than 20. And I only promote my Rumble channel, if at all possible. The point is that I actively used to promote YouTube, used to be a supporter of YouTube. And although I'm but one drop of water in the ocean, there are so many drops that are starting to swim in the opposite direction that YouTube faces challenges going against that current. They are not endearing themselves to virtually anybody. And eventually, when you have enough people pushing back, that makes a difference. Google's cloud, I spoke to a friend that used to work there until like a month ago, and he says that they are losing market share because they tried to hone in and get everything right on AI, and now they are going to be left in the dust by Microsoft. So you add up all these challenges, the fact that there's no doubt that Google X, where they're trying to develop the moonshots, have not really produced anything of substantive value. Maybe they will. I certainly hope for humanity that they will one day. I was once a huge proponent of this, but they're running into Tesla in terms of automated driving, robot taxis. Tesla is ahead of them there. And I have to wonder whether or not all the time that Google has spent on diversity initiatives and corporate trainings of such might have impeded progress, not only there, but in any number of areas. So the question is, what is the future for Google stock? And is it worth the risk? Yes, it's trading at a lower price to earnings ratio and forward earning estimates compared to the other big tech companies, but it's certainly not cheap. And will Google's revenue streams remain intact, or will they be damned, like putting up a physical dam, by the likes of Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla? I do think that this is a possibility. So I'm going to take a huge tax hit on this if I sell, but I'm definitely considering doing so for all the reasons that I mentioned. I think that the downside outweighs the upside. The one catalyst that I think that will drive Google stock price higher is, like Facebook, when Facebook was having challenges and the stock price went down to 80, they cut major staff and refocused on what is important, and the market rewarded them with a price per share of now nearing $500 from 80, which is just a huge increase. So I'm very curious your guys' opinions. If you guys have any thoughts on this, leave them below. And I'm just musing about what to do with my long-term former favorite company that I believe has become a dystopian hellhole of wokeness, once again, as exemplified by their Gemini AI.